Right now, we're going to move on to the pilot site number 5, which is in Germany as well as the first 2 pilots, but in quite a bit different area. So this will be the main use case for electrification automation active Fluorspar mine in Germany. And the presenter here will be Gunther Pieplow, who has a 27-year career in esteemed international mining, engineering, and metallurgy firms. He possesses extensive leadership acumen honed through years of overseeing operational business and adeptly managing complex projects. His specialized expertise lies in engineering and design, making him a distinguished professional in his field. Thank you, Gunther, for being here with us, and the floor is yours. Thank you so much, Gunther, for sharing us the insights of Pilot 5. And now I will ask our audience to answer 2 questions. So the first one will be, where does this solution presented in Pilot 5 will impact the most? So please submit your questions, submit your answers. The login details for the menti.com are in the chat. It's simple, just join us at menti.com and then use the code of the session, which is presented on the slide or in the chat box. Please share your answers. As we can see, the answers are clarifying for us. So what our audience answered is that operations and efficiency will have a significant impact. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's our aspects. We are an operating mine. We have to follow the economy, and so finally, all operations and efficiency creating matters are important for us. But I also want to point out that the part of environment is also very important on that thing, because finally, as I explained, everything what we can do to protect the volumes we are pumping from the EFS mine in Niederschlag. We're putting 1.5 million cubic meters of water every year outside of the mine. And everything what we can do to reduce the risk for that water in terms of pollution and anything else helps us to protect the environment outside the mine. And this is a very important aspect also for us to go ahead on such technologies.
I think it's also worth mentioning that also this pilot is focusing on safety issues as well.
Yeah.
For the governance, how would you
in terms of it's surely it's also a very important aspect, because finally we are an operating mining operation which always have to fit in terms of to legislation, and which is strictly overlooked by the legislation. And for that, every kind of control and better working together helps us. So it has also, I agree completely with the audience on that classification here. That is also a very important aspect. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And let's move to the second question. So that will be about the risks in implementation of the Pilot 5 solution. So we have the 5 areas: finance, environment, compliance with legislation, governance, and operations. Please rank them from the most at risk, which will be number 1, to the least at risk, in your opinion, in terms of implementing the solution. So the first 2 are finance and operations. Do you agree that these are the most critical parts of implementation of the Pilot 5 solution?
I fully agree. The ranking which is presented, or which was mentored here by the audience, fits completely to my understanding, because finally mining is a long-term business, and so the financing of that investments to be taken to change a complete operating system is one of the main issues which we have to prove first, because before somebody would think about planning in this. The second point is the operational actives. Sure, it is mining operation is a business where changes are always difficult to implement due to the proper mine design. So I can't change in an existing mine. It's very simple. Some operations I have to always to follow some restrictions, and so it is a process of planning, changing, and planning again, accompanied by the financing issue. So it's completely correct. In terms of compliance and with the legislation, this is also an issue what could create some risks in terms of implementing such solutions. And here in that place, it's especially the part which I want to mention, and I mentioned already in my speech, all that part of safety for staff in the mine is here also very important to communicate and to work together with the authorities, because finally such significant changes, for example, if you have to change the type of breather in terms of protection equipment for the miners, then it interferes directly also into legislation and to the responsibility of the authorities. Government environment gives a certain risk. Yes, a governance and environment gives a certain risk, but I also want to put it in the smaller way, because especially environment, we exactly doing that steps also to give a better energy consumption, to give a better quality on the water, to give a better quality on the ventilation which is coming from the mine into the atmosphere. And so I completely agree that that is, I think, the lowest risk in terms of the changes we are pretending to do.
Thank you so much, Gunther, for sharing the insights of the Pilot 5 solution.